I went ahead and connected to my virtual learning environment via the browser. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and pause the video and log into your machines. Let's use PySystem management tools to check the current values of broken tag and retired tag. From PySystem management tool, you can go to Data, Current Values, and then do a tag search. Here I'll type in broken tag, highlight it, and then press OK. So here I can see that the value of broken tag has not updated in a while, and it also has a bad value. So I'll go ahead and do the tag search for retired tag as well. I'll do it a little bit differently. I'll just type in retired and do star so that I can do a wildcard search for all the tags that start with retired and end with anything else. Search. And here, one thing to note is that you can also hover over this to see the value and the timestamp of the PyPoint. One thing I'm going to do before I load the current values is to check the point attribute. From the point attribute menu, I would like to check what's the point source of my PyTag. Here we can see that the point source is OPC. If best practices are followed, point source is a good way to identify which interface is writing to our PyPoint because it will be unique. Go ahead and press OK. So I can go to the interfaces section and then select interface list. Here it's really easy to identify which interface is writing to my PyPoint because I know that there's only one interface writing to all the PyPoints. So the interface point source here is OPC and the ID is 1. And I can see that the PyInterface node is pyint01. So I can log into pyint01 and check the message logs for clues as to why my tags are not updating. So let's go ahead and do that. If you would like to attempt this exercise on your own, you can go ahead and pause the video now and try it on your own. But I'll walk through the exercise now. So let's go to pyint1 to check the logs. So I'm going to check the interface logs using PyInterface configuration utility, PyICU. Let's go ahead and open that. From the drop-down, select the interface. We only have one interface on this machine, so this is likely going to be the interface that's writing to our tags. To check the message logs, click the View Current PyMessage Log Continuously button. Often when tags are misbehaving, the issue can be identified by looking at the message logs during interface startup. The least intrusive method would technically be to figure out when the interface last started and look at the logs during that time period. But it's much easier to restart the interface and watch the logs real time or look for recent time periods. Restarting the interface is generally safe and is done frequently during troubleshooting and when adding new tags. For non-history recovery interfaces, there will be data loss. OSIsoft recommends setting up interface level redundancy to avoid this issue. For the purposes of this class, I'll go ahead and restart the interface to check the logs. Here we can see the interface startup routine. We see that the total number of points matching point source OPC is 57, and there are some errors here. So this error is very meaningful to us because one of the tags we're troubleshooting is broken tag. It says no item name, instrument tag, and extended description both empty. So based on this message, we know that there's something wrong with our PyPoint configuration. Let's look for another message that'll show us what's wrong with retired tag. Here I can see that there's an informational message about retired tag. It says add items failed for tag retired tag. The item ID is not syntactically valid, so I also know that there's something wrong with the configuration of retired tag. The item ID is the address space of our item in the data source. This corresponds to the instrument ID in the PyPoint configuration. So let's go back to PyClient1 and change the configuration of the tag. So from here, we can go to Points and Point Builder. This is a plugin that we can use to make changes to PyPoint configurations. So I can type in broken tag and go to the Classics tab to check the instrument tag. So here we can see that the instrument tag is empty. So this is where you want to put the item ID of your PyPoint. I happen to know that the item ID is random.int1. So I'll enter that and then hit save. If you didn't know what the item ID was, you would have to go to your instrumentation team and ask them for a corresponding item ID in the data source. So if we don't do anything, the interface will pick up this change within 2 minutes. But if you want to see the change applied right away, then you can restart the interface. So let's go ahead and do that. you can click on this button to restart the interface. Let's go back to PyClient 1. Under current values, hit play. We can see that our broken tag is now updating. So for retired tag, the log suggested that the instrument tag was not valid. This means that there's no item ID that matches that instrument tag in the data source. So let's go ahead and check that. Go back to Point Builder. And do a tag search. Okay. So here we can see that the instrument tag for retired tag is R. I happen to know that this is the incorrect instrument tag, but if you don't know what it is, you can ask your data source admin to find that for you. In this case, it looks like the instrument tag was changed to something that does not exist. In this case, it looks like the instrument tag was changed to something that does not exist as a way to retire the tag. This will cause the interface to keep writing logs that indicate that there's something wrong with this tag. So a good way to retire this tag is to turn the scan off so that the interface does not write values to it anymore and change the point source to something that does not exist or something that indicates that the tag is retired. So we can go back to General. Let's add ZZZ in front of the point source name to indicate retirement. And then we can go to Archive tab and then turn scan to off and then save. So if we go back to the interface, we can either wait for that to happen. If we wait a little bit, we'll see that the interface will write a log to say it's removed. Here we go. And it shows that retired tag has a new point source and it has been removed from the interface. So now every time the interface restarts, it will not load the retired tag anymore. So if we go back to PyClient 01, current values, we'll see that the value was updated recently, but it was updated to scan off. So this will not get new values anymore. In the next lesson, we're going to demystify a common misconception with PyCollectives and configure buffering.